Motherhood is not hard because you're doing it wrong. The system's actually rigged against us. The status default that you and I see with women that are in the default is probably a reality that you and I don't want to live, right? That's why you're here. If you and I have not met, my name is Emma Lou with thrivingmom.com. I'm so glad you're here. You desire to live wildly beyond anything you can think of or imagine. You know that you're called beyond just reactive mode in motherhood in the home or in business for that matter. That's actually where I learned that. I was running a business with tons of employees doing millions and millions of dollars of sales per year, and I used to lie to myself and think like, well, once this next project, once this next holiday, once this next end of year is done, once this, the once that, and all of a sudden I'm like, what in the world am I like, am I just lying to myself? There are some things that are innately not serving me. And if we want to continue to live beyond the status quo of defaults in business or in our home, I gotta do some things differently. And that is where I birthed the desire to really hone in and find myself with rhythms that support me as an individual versus just having a system rigged against me that no best talent that I hire can really flop a band-aid on, right? Because we live with us and our family. So that is where I set out on a journey to debunk the myths of business. And then when I became a mom in motherhood as well, you see, in business, I used to think that I need to block my calendar full, and all the things. But what happens when things don't go as planned? Same thing transfers into motherhood. Things don't go as planned in your day. However, the thing that differentiates whether you are in survival or thriving mode is what you have set up as an underlying foundation and rhythm that helps you thrive, and you still can flow with peace. You're not neglecting your home or your business or your kids or your spouse, right? Sounds like a big task. And it's not about doing everything perfectly, but it is about learning and growing through it. So that takes busting the mindsets and myths that hold us captive, which is one of my favorite things to do. Now, as we go through this episode or this segment, one of the things I want you to hear very loud and clear is any time that something kind of goes like, oh, that's me, it is just feedback. There is no shame in where we're at today because we all start somewhere. I know how it is to be in different stages and phases, and even today, different things that I'm growing in. It's kind of like that shot in the heart of like, oh, but being honest and being aware and then making a decision that yes, I'm willing to change this, or no, I'm not, creates an opening in our brain that allows us to be a willing participant. It allows us to be making a conscious decision of yes, I would like to incorporate a rhythm or foundation in my life that will help us innately to thrive, or no, I'm not wanting to do that. It just really creates that stark reality of like admitting yes or admitting no, taking your power back versus just being a victim of like, well, because I have a business, I had, 10 fires before 10 a.m. and I got hit my desk at 9, and by noon, I don't even know where I'm going, and I missed this meeting and I missed that meeting, and oh wait, I don't even get to my to-do list until every team member has gone home. How does that translate into our home? That translates into mama doesn't get anything done until the kids are in bed. So that is where I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a different way. And that's why I implemented foundational rhythms into our home. So one of the things you can do today is look at a mindset shift that can happen. That's a myth. It's a cultural myth. I don't know what that is for you. It might be in the home. It might be in business. And really ask yourself the hard questions that counteract a narrative that the system has rigged against you. Because when we do that, we start to take back our power. And instead of external circumstances dictating whether it's a yes or a no, whether we can or we can't, and our mind just completely derailing and taking over for us in a subconscious way that we don't even know, we can actually consciously bring that up and say, actually, this stops with me. This is in an area that I want to grow in. This is the exact same practice it takes when an athlete goes to the Olympics. And in motherhood, why should we treat our motherhood any different than an Olympic does going to work and their training? Because you know what? Anything that surpasses business, athletes, all this stuff, motherhood is where generations are changed. Motherhood is a high calling, and you don't want to do it just using the default settings that society tells us is what's just in it for us as moms. I don't know about you, but I like to live life fully. I like to have fun. I don't want to just shelve things for someday. Now, there is wisdom in shelving some ideas and some things for, maybe that's not the right time. I'm not talking about that. You know what those things are that you just constantly say, someday, someday, someday. It's the exact reason that today I have changed things for the season that I'm in, where I can do business from home. I can build business from home. But that's not my driving thing. I funneled money into investments, that my investments grow with minimal hands-on time. So I took active money, funneled it into investments, but I also didn't really desire to send my kids off to school where they get on a bus at 7 or 8 a.m. and I don't see them all day, and then they come home with homework and then are hustled to bed where we don't have a family life. I didn't want to send my kids to school that traps us into a system where we don't get to travel when we want to travel, right? Those are the things that had me asking hard questions. If we don't want those realities, what do we need to do differently? Because that is not where I didn't start out, that any of that stuff would have even been an option for us. Because remember, I came from literally zero. When we got married, we had very little to our name. Okay? So those are the things we need to bust. And motherhood is filled with myths, and business is filled with myths. There is this thing of like, the more I work, the more thick content I put out, the more. That is what the whole society is based on, consumption. What if we step back and we disassemble those mindsets and myths? Now, I have two different ways that if you like to go alongside a movement, joining and flanking with women and be inundated with content that helps move you in the path that you want to go, subscribe and like this channel, because I'm going to be launching more episodes that help us to go in the direction we want to as women in the home and as business leaders, and developing wealth that is beyond just titles, that is beyond just dollars. It is wealth in our homes, with relationships that go the test of time, in our families, in our lineage, in friends, hanging out with people, cooking meals around the dinner table. These are lost arts. And if you like, preserving food, because not because you have to, but because you want to. It's a food that you can't even buy in the store. The flavor is over the top, right? Getting to enjoy taking walks, smelling the flowers, getting to travel with your family and friends. Those are the things. I'm speaking of realities that I live, not just, someday things. But I didn't start there. So no matter where you're at on your journey, like and subscribe. And if you could do me a favor for giving you this free resource today, share this with a mom bestie and leave me a comment on what this episode does for you. If you want to go a little bit deeper, I have some resources available to you in the format of a course, which is the 30-day reset. That gets you started building a foundation within your home, and it also translates into business. It goes back and forth and switches, and is very duplicatable. This is not about you becoming me. It is about you developing rhythms and foundations in your home that are duplicatable for you, that light your family and helps build a foundation that gets you into the realm of working proactively and being proactive as a mother in your home and in your business and just in life in general. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. Share this with a friend, and I can't wait to hear what your aha moment was below.